All right, two movies scored big wins at the Golden Globe Awards last night. The Revenant, of course, grabbing Best Drama, Best Director, Best Actor for Leonardo DiCaprio, finally. The Martian also had a big night and a really great moment for Sylvester Stallone. Variety Awards editor Tim Gray is here to talk about those winners and maybe some of the people who were passed over. This is kind of a crazy year because it seems like a lot of movies getting 1, 2, 3 awards.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real interesting year for film in general because it's all over the place. But with awards, sometimes there's kind of a focus. I mean, Titanic was a classic example where you kind of knew by the time the Oscar night came, you knew what was going to happen. Seriously, I don't know what's going to happen with Oscars this year.
Yeah, we always think of the Golden Globes as kind of a little hint to what's going to happen. But this year, really some surprises. Let's take a look at a clip from The Revenant, which of course won Best Drama.
I want to share this award with all the First Nations people represented in this film. It is time that we heard your voice and protected this planet for future generations. Thank you very much.
That was Leonardo DiCaprio in his acceptance speech last night. And I think going into this, the buzz was for Spotlight. And Spotlight walked away with 0 awards.
Well, Spotlight had won a lot of critics' awards, and people thought, well, okay, maybe that's kind of planting the seed here. But I think even the Revenant people were a little surprised at the win there because Spotlight seemed to have a little bit of momentum. And then there's The Big Short, which is a very timely film about the housing crisis.
Right.
And a lot of people liked that. That kind of came in right at the end of the year, the same time as The Revenant. So, but the Revenant is like big Hollywood filmmaking, what Hollywood does best. And that's true with The Martian, too. So I think both of them are going to do very well in Oscar nominations on Thursday.
But not a shoo-in for Best Picture.
No, I don't think anything's a shoo-in at this point, which makes my job more interesting, your job more interesting, and I think it makes it more fun for the viewers, too. Star Wars, I don't know what's going to happen with that in the Oscars, but it'll be interesting to find out.
Let's talk about The Martian. You mentioned it, nominated for Best Comedy or Musical, and it won the category. And I think a lot of people were thinking, well, it's not a musical. There were some funny moments, but what makes it a comedy, leaving a man on Mars to die?
Well, I mean, I think the studio kind of figured we have more chance in the comedy category.
So strategy.
They kind of submitted it, but the Hollywood Foreign Press, which votes on the Globes, they could have rejected that idea. But, you know, there are movies like The Graduate or Forrest Gump over the years. We were talking last night, and I think of The Graduate as a comedy, and a couple of people at the table said, no, that's a drama. It's just a funny drama. And I think Martian fits into that category. But it's, you know, it's much more entertaining than I expected it to be. Because I'd just seen Gravity 2 years ago, but somebody lost in space and a rescue. It's like,
a similar story.
Been there, done that. But this is very different. And it was interesting last night between Sylvester Stallone, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Ridley Scott, who directed The Martian. It was like a lot of overdue people getting their rewards. So it was like old home week a little bit.
And Sylvester Stallone, I thought he was so endearing last night. Didn't win 39 years ago. And then wins last night.
I really think that was the most popular win of the evening because the people jumped to their feet, you know, very spontaneous, and that surprised me a little bit. But also his speech was really good, so I thought, boy, he just gained a lot of points in his Oscar push. Yeah, it was a really popular
So
win.
you think he might have momentum going in?
Yeah, I think so. Because again, the people who are in the room, there's about 1,200 people at the Beverly Hilton for the Golden Globes, and they're all industry people. So you get a kind of a sense of what they like and what they don't like. And the wins for Sylvester Stallone and Leonardo DiCaprio, very popular, and I thought, okay, people like, sometimes people online, you know, the haters, dislike them, and you think, wait, are they typical? And you thought, yeah, okay, the people in the industry have a whole different opinion, and I think both of them do well.
That's interesting that you talk about online. Are we going to see social media sort of have an influence on who wins and who doesn't? I
don't know that it's going to influence, but it kind of keeps the conversation going. I mean, there's certainly more time to talk about the Golden Globes and the Oscars. You know, again, the Oscar nominations coming out Thursday, and I think there's going to be debate right up until the last minute and through the Oscar show because people have really strong opinions on the films this year. And again, Star Wars, because that movie's kind of in a class by itself, and I'm sure that's going to be up for Oscars. So that'll fuel the conversation.
And Brie Larson is just adorable last night, so real. And maybe a little bit of a surprise win.
Well, she's one of those people who's been kind of on the radar, but kind of below below the radar, and people like the kind of discovery, that people like to discover stars. With Sylvester Stallone, they're rediscovering him after all these years. And with her, she's been really good in films for the past few years. I mean, she was in Trainwreck, and it's like people I kind of forgot that. But she's so good in Room. So I wasn't totally surprised that she won, but again, people were really happy about that win.
Yeah, Room, one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah.
All right. Oscar noms Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be watching for that. Thank you, Tim, so much.
Thanks.
For more information about Variety Magazine and their awards coverage, just go to kcal9.com. You can click Seen on TV.